Turn off the lights, do not talk, hide in this corner, and hope for the best. Every year, multiple times a year, students are told these specific instructions as they practice hiding from someone whose mission in that moment is to end their lives. Each of these classrooms are full of our future businessmen, businesswomen, presidents, politics, leaders, but sadly also our future criminals. Teaching students what we do, where we hide, and why we hide there also teaches our future criminals what we do, where we hide, and why we hide there. This equals the playing field into a fair game for all, leaving it in the hands of fate to decide who gets to survive. The attacker, whom most likely attended school at some point, knows the procedures and is well aware of our whereabouts and how to work around the roadblocks, and all the work done to keep the school safe at this point is now irrelevant. School lockdown drills are doing the opposite of keeping our schools safe, and they should not be practiced throughout the year when there are much better alternatives that we could do instead. Lockdown drills create a sense of horror in every classroom, no matter the age, and can cause trauma amongst the students learning them every single year. Telling a student they are practicing how to hide from someone trying to kill them can be extremely traumatizing, as I'm sure you can assume, especially for those younger kids who are going to have to live with that and practice that for years to come in all of their schooling. A socialist named Devin Magliozzi says, to prioritize their own survival, they must close the door to the shooter and the injured, putting to rest moral questions about leaving others to die. For a child, leaving behind some of your best friends to die while hoping for the best, or even the idea of doing so by practicing the lockdown drills, is horrific. To anyone, it'd be horrific, including the teachers as well. Many students, including myself, live in fear every day because of these lockdown drills of the possibility of a lockdown occurring. These lockdown drills worry the students, however, they also worry the teachers. In that moment, the teachers are responsible for all the lives of their students and protecting them at all costs. Learning these drills is just another way to scare the students of what could possibly happen to them. And as I stated before, that is a scary experience that they're going to have to continue to experience all the way from kindergarten up to seniors in high school. Throughout their education, they are taught to be respectful and kind and fill buckets of other students. But as soon as it comes to lockdown drills, they're expected to leave the ones they care about behind, and what is going on the other side of the wall, they're expected to forget about, even though that wall is not protecting them as it should be. Lockdown drills can cause fear in a child's mind, always leaving them to wonder about someone entering their learning environment to harm them, disrupting and finalizing their fate. That is a scary thing, because even I myself, anytime I see someone walk through those doors now, I wonder if they're here to harm me or my classmates, and I'm never easy with the idea of someone coming into my school that we don't know. Not only does lockdown drills teach students to leave behind the people they love, but it teaches them the wrong tactics of what to do when they are put in a situation such as an active shooter. Janelle Walker is a safety professional, and she revealed on Elgin Courier News in an interview that showed a video in a school shooting. She said other students in the room hid under the desks while the shooter's gun jammed. They didn't seize the opportunity to run when they had the chance. The best tactic we're teaching these kids is to hide in a corner and to stay there, or hide under a desk and stay there. It is burned in their brain to hide there when sometimes it's safer to get away, when the gun is jammed, or you know he's on the other side of the school. Sometimes it's easier to get away, but it's burned in their brain that they are supposed to hide there because they don't know any better. Their hiding could cause them to get caught in the crossfire. Because of the lockdown drill procedures that are driven into their brains from such a young age, they are trained to hide and stay when faced in a life-threatening situation such as an active shooter in their school, rather than running away to a safer place if they're given the opportunity. Seth Goldstein, also a safety professional from Mobilized Rescue Systems, said, "Hiding in a bush isn't going to stop a bullet," which, in a very blunt way, is the perfect way to explain how just the same as hiding under a desk, it's not going to stop that bullet from harming that student and potentially killing them. Getting out of the area is sometimes the best and safest option. A safety professional also stated that the corner of our classrooms are not the safest place for our students, and it needs to be changed on where they're hiding and the tactics in place during lockdown drills. We have some work to do if we want to keep our students safe. So imagine this. An active shooter is in an elementary school and the students are hiding under a desk, but when the shooter leaves the room for a moment, they stay there because that's what they're always told to do, is to stay there and to hide, to have something ready to throw if it becomes necessary. But the shooter leaves the room and he's away, and there's another door to get out, but they're staying under that desk because that's what they were always told to do. Well, when that shooter comes back and sees those children there, they are now very susceptible to the actions of that shooter because they did not escape when given the chance or the opportunity, because they're following the directions they were always told to stay under that desk. We strive for safer school communities, yet we won't adjust our budget to place bulletproof safety rooms attached to each classroom. These rooms are much safer and we can easier place children in them upon direction. Rather than having to practice, it'd be much easier to leave it to the situation if it occurs, having the students say, okay kids, this is where we need to go and this is where we need to be. This eliminates the scarring experience of doing lockdown drills throughout the year. It also keeps from teaching students to stay still and hide under that desk, even though that desk is not as safe as a bulletproof room that we could have attached to classrooms. The opportunity of bulletproof rooms is a tremendous idea and can be made adaptable depending on where they will go. In 1999, 32 deaths occurred in the Columbine High School shooting, whereas 12 deaths occurred in Mark Orrin Barton mass shooting, because those students stayed and hid, whereas the other people were able to run and get away from the shooter. Also, 27 deaths happened in the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting, whereas only 1 death occurred when multiple criminals opened fire on a Tennessee club. The children hiding in school are dying, to put it in plain fact. The people free to run away are the ones surviving. What has been failed to be considered is that the shooters, such as Nikolas Cruz, previously attended the high school or a school that they could potentially be shooting at in the future. Nikolas Cruz knew where the students would be hiding, and he knew the schedule, and this put all the students and teachers at a much higher risk of death. Teaching students where to hide is very harmful in the long run. It should be enforced to students instead that if placed in this life-threatening situation, you would just need to follow teachers' instructions. This entails that all teachers would need to receive thorough training in safety procedures, such as coming in the summer and receiving a full experience lockdown, where the police would come in, the teachers have to go through a fake scenario of a lockdown, and the police would see if these rooms are safe. Engraving these false survival tactics into the minds of the children is also giving impending criminals an advantage over forthcoming schools and families. Lockdown drills are more threatening to the safety of our schools rather than protecting them. We need to stop the lockdown drills, put in bulletproof rooms to the classrooms, and we'll keep thousands of kids safe for years to come. We can't 100% prevent them, but we can change the way we go about them and save lives and the mental stability of many younger generations.